The laughter started before the footage even finished playing. It rolled across the observation gallery like distant thunder, layered, sharp, alien. Mandibles clicked. Vocal sacs vibrated. Some species displayed amusement through color pulses that rippled across their skin like neon mockery. On the massive holodisplay, a group of human soldiers ran an obstacle course. Mud. Steel beams. Ropes. Ballistic weapons. Close quarters grappling. Primitive. Brutal. Physical. Outdated. At least, that's what the cadets thought. Projectile weapons? One avian cadet scoffed. They still rely on chemical propulsion? They use muscle-powered grappling techniques. Another added. In combat. Voluntarily. Several cadets actually leaned forward to get a better look, not out of respect, but curiosity. Like watching historical reenactment footage. At the center of the gallery, seated alone in a neutral zone chair reinforced for high-gravity species, sat Commander Elena Voss of Earth Defense Fleet. 48 years old. Broad shoulders. Short iron-gray hair. One eyebrow permanently split by an old scar that never quite healed right. She didn't laugh. She didn't react. She just sipped her coffee. Real coffee. Not synth. The smell alone made 3 nearby species mildly uncomfortable. Instructor Terrell, the arena master, shifted his armored bulk toward her. His scaled body reflected the light of the holoscreen in dull green plates etched with combat honors. Commander Voss, he said, voice low and resonant, you must admit, your species trains with admirable enthusiasm. She raised one eyebrow. But tactically inefficient, he continued. Another ripple of laughter. Elena set her coffee down carefully. You're seeing training footage, she said calmly. Not combat footage. A six-limbed cadet tilted his head. Is there a difference? She gave a small smile. Yeah, she said. Training is where we hold back. That earned more laughter. Down on the arena floor, multi-species cadets prepared for joint demonstration drills. The floor itself was layered hyperceramic, designed to survive starship thruster testing and kinetic bombardment simulations. The energy barrier surrounding the arena hummed softly. Medical drones floated above like silent judges. Today was supposed to be friendly. Demonstrations. Cultural exchange. Cooperative sparring. Then Cadet Jek's course stepped forward. Tall. Four-armed. Built for speed. Born on a low-gravity paradise world with centuries of genetic combat optimization. He raised his upper right hand. I request live demonstration against a human instructor. The gallery quieted instantly. Instructor Terrell turned slowly. Purpose? Comparative analysis, Jek said smoothly. His eyes locked on Elena. The insult wasn't even subtle. Terrell hesitated. Commander Voss, he said carefully. Participation is voluntary. Elena stood. Joints popped. Not weak. Just used. How hard is your floor rated for? She asked. Terrell blinked both eyelids. Starship exhaust class. She nodded once. Should be fine then. The lift carried her down to the arena floor. The gallery leaned forward in collective anticipation. A middle-aged human officer. Versus peak alien military genetics. Jex performed a formal combat bow, then added a slight flourish meant to signal dominance. I will restrict myself to non-lethal engagement, he said. Elena rolled her shoulders. Don't do that, she said. Why? Because if you think you need to hold back, she said quietly, you're already making a mistake. The signal tone sounded. The match began. Jex moved first. He was fast, faster than most species could track. Forearms striking in staggered timing patterns designed to overwhelm neurological prediction models. Gasps rippled through the cadet viewing rows. Elena didn't dodge. She stepped forward. Her shoulder drove into his chest with the force of a small vehicle collision. The impact cracked the arena floor. Jex's body slammed into the ground hard enough to bounce. Before he could recover, she seized two of his arms, pivoted, and used his own momentum to drive him face first into the hyperceramic. Another crack spiderwebbed outward. The gallery went silent. Jex shrieked, scrambling, striking wildly, faster now, desperate now. Elena moved like gravity belonged to her. Because it did. Earth gravity shaped every muscle fiber in her body. Every bone density layer. Every reflex built on the assumption that the planet itself was trying to kill you daily. Jex slept high, aerial strike. Elena stepped slightly to the side. Then she stomped. Not flashy. Not dramatic. Just precise. The floor split. Not chipped. Not dented. Split. A fracture line shot across the arena like lightning frozen in ceramic. The shockwave rolled outward, making the barrier shields flare white-hot. Dust rose slowly. Jex lay unconscious in a shallow crater. Medical drones dove instantly. No one in the gallery spoke. Elena exhaled once, slow and controlled. She looked up at them. "You keep saying Earth training looks easy," she said. No one laughed. "We train in full gravity," she continued. "Variable terrain. Environmental hostility. Resource scarcity. Psychological stress." She tapped her boot against fractured hyperceramic. "And this?" Another light tap. The crack extended half a meter further. "This is me at maybe 40%. Instructor Terrell stared at the floor. Then at her. Then back at the floor. "Your species," he said slowly, "evolved under constant environmental threat?" Elena picked up her jacket from the arena edge. "Death World," she said. "Standard classification." She started walking toward the lift. Halfway there, she stopped. Turned back. And this was just gym class. The lift doors closed behind her. Above, in the observation gallery, no one spoke for a very long time. Because for the first time, they weren't looking at humans as the new species. They were looking at them as the species that might survive when everyone else didn't. And somewhere deep in the Council data networks, new threat assessments quietly began rewriting themselves. Not from "can humanity fight?" to something far more unsettling. How long could we survive if humanity decided we were the problem? The video spread like wildfire. Not the official holofeed. Not the sanitized version Terrell had approved. This was the leak, shaky angles from the gallery, dust drifting in slow motion, Jex Cor's forearms flailing helplessly as the floor cracked beneath him. By the time the Council's security teams realized what had happened, copies had already reached every major military and intelligence hub across 3 sectors. The first message arrived in Elena's inbox while she was back aboard the Earth Fleet's shuttle. "We didn't bring you here for training." No sender. No signature. Just those 6 words. She smiled faintly. Not for amusement. For acknowledgement. Whoever had sent it understood her species. Whoever had sent it was already in trouble. Across alien empires, the reaction was uniform. Shock. Reassessment. Panic. Admiral Slurth of the Dravidai High Command slammed his clawed hands onto the console. "Do you see this? They shattered reinforced arena plating. His translator sputtered. "They overpowered structural integrity designed for Starship thruster tests." "Your point being?" hissed Ambassador Finn, a gelatinous diplomat from the Yelvari sector. "It's an exhibition. No lives lost. Surely this does not justify panic." "Lives lost?" Slurth barked. "The cadet is unconscious. He survived by a hair's width. This is lethal capability." Meanwhile, back in her quarters, Elena opened a secure comm channel to Jex Cor. The cadet had survived the demonstration, yes, but the lesson was clear. Humans didn't play by the rules aliens assumed. "I misjudged you, Commander," he said quietly, voice still shaky from trauma and disbelief. How did you know every feint I would attempt?" Elena leaned back in her chair, spinning the coffee mug slowly in her hands. "I didn't know," she said evenly. "I assumed you were trying to kill me." Silence. That tiny sentence terrified him more than the broken floor, the cracking ceramic, the chaos of combat. And it terrified more than just him. Across the council, analysts were revising centuries of assumptions about humanity. It wasn't strength that scared them. Humanity had never been the strongest species. It wasn't speed. Not intellect. Not firepower. It was adaptability. Earthlings didn't fight to survive, they fought to end threats permanently. They didn't strategize to avoid losses. They strategized to outlast and outthink and outfight anything that stood in their way. The data feeds compiled historical records, every extinction-level event, every planetary war, every near annihilation. Each time, humanity escalated. Not just defensively. Offensively. With cunning. With cruelty when necessary. With an efficiency that other species called barbaric, and yet somehow brilliant. Jex-Corps visited Elena the next day under supervision, still pale, still trembling from the adrenaline spike. I didn't understand, he said. Your species escalates. Elena tapped the scar above her eyebrow. We do. He swallowed. How many humans could do what you did? Elena let out a small sigh. About 30% of active duty ground forces. But only a few dozen could do it without hesitation. Jex's mandibles twitched. And yet you held back? Yeah. She leaned forward. Imagine what happens when we don't. That thought spread through the ranks like wildfire, too. Political factions in the council that had once laughed at Earth's primitive training now quietly recalculated risk matrices. Military manuals were quietly rewritten. Strategic simulations rerun. Some nations even quietly suspended attempts to recruit Earth personnel, citing unforeseen hazard potential. Because the Council had made a fatal assumption that humans could be integrated into galactic society like any other species. They had underestimated the variable they couldn't measure. The human factor. And humanity wasn't done proving it. The following week, classified intelligence picked up chatter from an unknown source. Sabotage. Intrigue. Hints of assassination attempts within the very arena complex where Elena had fought. Unknown faction. Unknown objective. But one thing was certain, they underestimated humans. Elena opened the data pad. She didn't panic. She didn't hesitate. She already knew what to do. Because humans thrived in situations that would terrify most species. Chaos wasn't a problem. It was a tool. Pressure didn't crush them. It sharpened them. And if someone was planning to test humanity's response protocols, they had chosen the wrong species to mess with. She lifted her combat knife, old as some of the civilizations watching her, and traced the edge along her palm. It left no mark. Only a whisper of intent. The galaxy had just learned a dangerous truth. Earth didn't just train for combat. Earth trained for survival and retaliation. And those who watched, who laughed, who mocked, were quietly rewriting their contingency plans. Not about humans' limits. About their own. Because they had just glimpsed what happened when a human decided a threat was unacceptable. It wasn't an attack from the stars. It came from inside. The arena complex, supposedly the safest, most secure installation in the sector, erupted in chaos. Sabotage charges detonated across power nodes. Energy shields collapsed in flickering bursts of red and white. Emergency lighting bathed the corridors in a hellish glow, and smoke hissed from ruptured conduits. Cadets panicked. Guards scrambled. Alien dignitaries tried to shout orders, but their voices were swallowed by the roar of alarms and the smell of ozone. And through it all, one figure moved calmly, Elena Voss. She had been in the complex only hours earlier, observing demonstrations, but she had trained for situations like this since she could remember. War, survival, ambushes, they were the air she breathed. The first mercenary rounded the corner, augmented limbs gleaming, bioplating flickering. Plasma rifle leveled. Elena didn't flinch. She grabbed the nearest coffee mug from a console, swung it like a morning star, and it shattered against his visor. Plasma bolt missed, sizzling into the ceiling. Knife in hand, she closed the distance. 3 seconds later, the mercenary was down, his augmented limbs twitching uselessly. She didn't stop. She dragged his rifle free. Check the ammo. Muted sarcasm escaped her lips. Still point and shoot, she muttered. Gunfire echoed down the hallways. Screams followed. The mercenaries weren't here for training exercises. They weren't here for intimidation. This was an assassination attempt. Political sabotage. A message: remove humanity before they could integrate further. Elena's mind worked like a clockwork engine. She knew where every choke point was. Every access corridor. Every defensible position. She moved toward the arena. Because controlling the arena meant controlling the heart of the complex. Cadets cowered inside, from multiple species, some human, most alien, terrified, unsure, confused. Elena tossed rifles and sidearms to the nearest combat-trained cadets. Safety's here, she said. Short bursts. Don't be stupid. The reptilian cadet caught the rifle without hesitation. Training kicked in. Fear became structure. When the first mercenary wave breached the arena entrance, they weren't met with terrified civilians. They were met with a firing line. And at the center, a human. Elena's calm was surgical. She moved like a living weapon, stepping aside, striking, stabbing, neutralizing threats faster than the mercs could comprehend. Every movement predicted, every angle accounted for. They screamed. They fell. The arena itself became a weapon. Elena used fractured flooring, debris, and environmental hazards as force multipliers. She didn't just fight. She engineered death zones, turning the facility into a maze designed to maximize their vulnerability. Within minutes, the first mercenary commander was crawling across shattered ceramic, clutching torn armor, bleeding fluid that glowed blue-black in the emergency lights. Elena crouched beside him. Knife poised. Calm as a calm sea before a storm. You don't understand, he rasped. This wasn't about killing you. It was about testing response. Elena's eyes, gray and steely, didn't flinch. No what? She asked. That humanity escalates. She tilted her head. A slow, deliberate smile touched her lips. Yeah, she said. We do. Then she knocked him unconscious. Because dead enemies don't talk. And humanity always planned 3 wars ahead. By the time Council security reinforcements arrived, the arena was in complete control. No hostages. No casualties beyond the mercenary forces. The alien cadets were shaken, yes, but alive. Inspired even. The Council convened emergency sessions. Not to punish humanity. Not to chastise. To classify. To calculate. High risk. High value. Strategic ally. Translation: don't provoke them. Don't underestimate them. And if they say a thing is a bad idea, maybe listen. Weeks later, Cadet Jack's corps approached Elena again. Still recovering from injuries, still trembling with awe. He bowed properly this time. I misjudged humanity, he admitted. Elena smirked. Kid, she said. Everyone does. He hesitated. Will you teach me that move? She thought about the cracked arena floor, the sabotage, the war that had just unfolded. She sighed. Yeah, she said. But first. She handed him a weighted training pack, calibrated for full human gravity. Run. He stared. Then at her. Then started running. Because that was humanity's true secret, not the strength. Not the brutality. Not even the advanced tactics. Endurance. Persistence. Relentless adaptation. By the time the galaxy realized what it had invited into the ranks, it was too late. Humanity didn't seek to conquer the stars. It sought to survive. To endure. To ensure that nothing, ever conquered them. And cracking a few arena floors along the way? That was just training. 43 minutes. That's how long it took. By the time the last mercenary commander crawled across the shattered arena floor, blue-black blood staining every crack, the galaxy was watching in stunned silence. Live feeds from every corner of the Council's network had captured it all. Humans moving through chaos like storm-driven predators, allies and cadets coordinated in perfect, brutal symmetry, a single middle-aged officer at the center of it all. Elena Vaz stood above the final mercenary, her combat knife resting lightly against his chest. She didn't gloat. She didn't smile triumphantly. She just exhaled, steady, unshaken. "You don't understand," the mercenary gasped, struggling to breathe. "This wasn't about killing you, it was about testing response." Elena's gray eyes fixed on him. Calm. Ruthless. Calculated. "And what did you learn?" she asked softly. "That humanity escalates," he whispered. She nodded slowly, like confirming a fact she had already known for decades. "Yes," she said. "We do." Then she knocked him out cold. Dead enemies don't speak, and humanity's lessons were always permanent. Across the Council, the emergency convened. Not punishment. Not reprimand. Not negotiation. Assessment. Reevaluation. Redefinition. Humanity had been formally reclassified. Strategic ally, high risk, high value. The translation was simple: do not provoke, do not underestimate, and never corner humanity. The galaxy had just witnessed the terrifying efficiency of a species that survived by escalating every threat until it was no longer a threat, it was an advantage. Later, in the quiet aftermath, Cadet Jexcor approached Elena again. Still pale. Still trembling. Still in awe. "I misjudged humanity," he admitted, bowing properly this time. Elena smirked. "Kid," she said, "everyone does." He hesitated. "Will you teach me that move?" She paused, thinking of the fractured arena floor, the sabotage, the war that had just unfolded. Then she sighed. "Yeah," she said. "But first." She handed him a weighted training pack calibrated for Earth gravity. "Run." He stared. Then he looked at her again. And then, slowly, he started running. Because that was humanity's true secret: endurance, persistence, relentless adaptation. Strength was temporary. Brilliance was fleeting. But the human spirit? The human drive? That outlasted everything. And by the time the galaxy truly realized what it had invited into the Council, it was already too late. Humanity wasn't seeking conquest. Humanity sought survival. And if that meant cracking a few arena floors along the way, well, that was just training. Elena turned back to the shattered arena, her eyes sweeping the damage, the cadets, the frightened but learning aliens. She smiled faintly. The galaxy would remember this day. Not because humans had fought hard, but because humans had fought differently. Relentlessly. Cleverly. Unpredictably. And always, always to win. And that was the danger. That was humanity. That was HFY.